There are significant changes in the HIPAA laws recently. What are they and how do they impact the dentist's office?
The recent changes that occurred in the HIPAA law went into effect September 23rd, 2009, very recently. These changes involve breaches, and a breach, when we're talking about this, is a breach of information that is released. Typically, we talk about accidental breaches, but these accidental breaches can have profound effects. There are extremely large penalties that can go into effect on the dental office, and there are certain notifications now that need to be done subsequent to each of those breaches.
Can you give us some examples of HIPAA breaches that may happen in a dentist's office?
If there's a breach in a dental office of this information, and a good example might be sending a fax to a cardiologist for information, but you sent it to the wrong cardiologist, we now have an obligation to notify the patient of that breach, as well as Health and Human Services. In addition, should that breach involve 500 or more individuals, we may very well have an obligation to notify the public media, such as you hear about major corporations having breaches with credit and so on.
We talked about the breaches, but what are the consequences to the dentist's office?
The consequences of a breach, if we don't inform and remedy, can go from very, very simple, which is a notification you have failed to, all the way up to huge criminal and violations of law in terms of financial penalties. These fines can be enormous and actually can go up to $1.5 million per year.
Dr. Cohen, how does a dentist determine if he or she is a HIPAA-covered entity?
The answer, HIPAA-covered entity, and what am I? Am I a HIPAA-covered entity is a key factor in all of this. If that dental office does not submit electronic claims, technically they are not a HIPAA-covered entity. But it's very important for all of us to recognize that state privacy laws are very, very close to the HIPAA laws, with the exemption of certain documentations and training, and therefore it would behoove us to follow those regulations and therefore protect ourselves from any of these breaches.